Well, you know what, Tim, you could have mentioned the biblical weather forecast that you had for us because it's been raining so much for the last 2 days. I saw the animals walking 2 by 2 as I came in this morning. So somebody somewhere is building an ark. I've never seen it. I lived in England for 16 years, and this is making England look like Arizona. All right. So Tennessee, and boy, you can tell it's been raining, and it's been raining for a long time. But these markets, you know what? That's actually that'd be a good TV station. Just weather and markets, and forget about all the other stuff. Sorry, Suzanne. Weather and markets, way better. All right, let's take a look at the markets while I'm talking about them. Let's bring in corn. Let's bring up corn right behind me and see if we can get a better board. Not really. 7.5 cents lower. During my radio show this morning, this was all negative too. 7.5 cents lower in the May. 6.45 and a quarters last. About 3.5, 4 cents off the lows there. But go out to the new crop. We can't hang on to anything, really. We're 3 cents lower there again. 5.57 and 3/4 as we say goodbye to 5.60. So trading heavy as we go into this 3-day weekend. Let's take a look at soybeans. What do we have happening there? All right, let's go over there. I can talk about anything, right? 21.5 cents lower in the May to 14.89.5. July's off 17 and 3/4 cents to 14.60. And let's go out to Nove. That's the new crop. Are we coming back to this $13 line and worrying about that again? It looks like we are. We're 4 cents off of it, off the lows. Right now, we're 8.25 cents lower to 13.07 and 3/4. The low is 13.03 and 3/4. So we bounced a little bit, but not by much. How about wheat in Chicago, you ask? Well, wheat in Chicago, you get. This is lower, but steady a little bit easier, I'll say that. We're 3 ticks lower in the May. That's 3/4 cent. 6.81 and a quarter is last, and then if we go out to the D, say that's 2.25 cents lower out there. 7.24 and a quarter, and we're 6 cents off the low there. Hard red wheat in Kansas City. Good barbecue down there. I'm kind of hungry. 12.25 cents lower, or 12.25 cents higher. See, I got used to saying lower. All right, here we go. This is a better board. 12.25 cents higher in that front month May. Now 12.5 cents higher. 8.74 is last. And we're coming up to the highs there. We're only about 3.5 cents away. We're 11.5 cents higher in the July. That's 8.54.5 last. If we go out to the D's, that's 9 cents higher to 8.50.5 there. All right, let's take a look. That was Kansas City. Let's go over to Minneapolis. 7 cents higher in their May contract. 8.80.5 is last there. 6.75 cents higher in the July contract to 8.80 3/4. And finally, if you go out to D's, 6.25 cents higher. 8.81 is last. 2 3/4 off of the highs. It's always good to say that, isn't it? Here we go. This one's a little bit on fire. We've been talking about cotton as of late. 224 points higher in the May. That's the front. 83, spot 31 is last. Well off the lows. Actually, that was a new high that we just printed there. We just backed off a couple of points. But that's a good one to end on. Why don't we now move on to our next guest analyst? It's going to be Nick Paumen from CHS in, I think he's in Inver Grove. Maybe he's not. I don't know. There he is. Inver Grove Heights. There you go. He's at the home office, the big where you get everything's made for you right up there. You get a breakfast made for you every day. You get lunch made for you every day. It's just it's living the life, right? You and Apple and Google. So what's
it's a 5-star hotel.
What are your thoughts here?
Well, yeah, pressure here ahead of the long weekend. Whether it's just position squaring again because of the long weekend, and part of it too is probably the weather. You look out to the 2-day window, and we got above average temps the next couple of weeks. So that's getting out a lot of snow in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Get everyone excited again about getting back in the field, although we'll probably be delayed into May. Then of course we got another WASI report out on Tuesday. And again, not a ton for changes there. I think the biggest interesting point to watch will be what the bean carryout does if that's sub 200 million and how that potentially excites the market.
So do you think that maybe that stocks and acreage report maybe for the short term might have given us a short term low here, and we'll start to maybe put some real estate on as we get into the planting? Or what are your thoughts here in the short term? What are you talking to your customers about?
Yeah, so it definitely it gave the especially the beans a little bit of a more active trade, a little bit higher trading potential here. And again, like you're seeing today, we're backing off some of the highs we've seen in the last week. So it definitely provides support, but we've traded through that report now. So again, I think it's back to a weather market. So you start looking at the temperatures and then the weather or how wet stuff's going to be, and we could start seeing a little bit of some delays. The planned delays, of course, are being talked about big, not only in the Midwest, but you start talking out in the Indiana, Ohio guys, and they're wet. They need to dry out a little bit too. So again, it's early, but that's obviously on the mind of the market here, especially with what their reaction is today.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I've been doing it a while, Nick, and just sometimes we seem like we always want to make up reasons to be nervous, but we probably don't always have to be. Lastly, do you think any of the energy issues are going to be affecting any of these grains?
Yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, we saw that on Monday, right? When the OPEC plus made their cuts out on Sunday, and we saw what crude did, and then how it spilled over to corn and beans and everything else. So definitely provides another layer of volatility in the market. That while you're watching weather on over here, you got to pay attention to what energy is doing on the other side of things. So it's there's always something in the markets we've got to be watching. So, yeah, for now we're a little bit lower heading into the weekend and see what Monday brings ahead of the report and how forecasts look and how we get excited for spring to finally be here, especially in Minnesota. We got 60s and 70s on the forecast now, and we're jumping for joy.
We're just going to call that your 2 days of summer, and it'll be over after that. How about that?
Yeah, we're probably due for another snowstorm yet again here.
Right,
so.
No kidding. I used to live up there, right? We used to live in Minneapolis. Yeah. My dad was a cargo guy. Okay, thanks for being on. Have a great Easter. Nick Paumen, he's with
you too.
CHS. We're going to move on. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on in the livestock.